Alright everybody, we're finally inside the game once again. Another ECAL match going to be Midas taking on Skill Difference. My name is Draskyl, joined by the one, the only Spit-wad of NEODota, man. What's up?
How's it going? It's an honor to be here.
Oh my god, you sound like a person. You weren't kidding when you said you fixed your mic, at least a little bit. Most of the time I'm used to hearing you and you sound like a robot. But good to have you
Yeah.
on, man.
It looks ridiculous right now, though. It only works if the mic is right up next to my mouth.
Well, that's how it should be, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to have Midas taking on Skill Difference. Last group, going to be Group D. The other day, we saw another match of this group, and I'm actually completely blanking on the teams because I'm horrible at this, but...
EG versus Absolute Legends.
That's right, and EG won again. Thank you for reminding me. They kicked out AL from the defense, and then they managed to take a game off of them in ECAL as well, so EG on a tear recently. But today, going to see Midas taking on Skill Difference once again. Lycan banned out here first, and Furion as well, so pretty standard stuff coming out from both teams. And I haven't seen too much of Midas. I'm not really sure what kind of strategies they like to run, but I'm kind of assuming we're not going to see too much variation, at least in the first of the 6 bans, so we'll have to see what they want to go for.
Yeah, I haven't seen Midas play at all, but so far in this league, we've seen the South American teams do a lot of push strats, actually.
Yeah, they really favor playing aggressive, even if it's push or if it's just pick a lot of very heavy damage type heroes. I know I've seen Lena used a handful of times. This Invoker and Naga are both going to be taken out here as well, and I think the Naga ban is pretty warranted. In any game where you don't have first pick, I don't think you can really ever let that hero go. I think it's just way too strong in the stage of the way the game's played right now at the very least.
Yeah, Naga's a huge threat, and we're seeing her banned pretty much every game so far since she's been out.
We're going to have to see what else we're going to see banned out here. CK still in the pool. The Chen and the Enchantress are obviously kind of no-brain bans too if you're not going to be the one with first pick, but most teams typically favor only banning one jungle. That way they're able to pick up the other if they are in that first pick scenario. And Leshrac actually not going to see it out here by Midas, so now we have Skill Difference who has to kind of make a decision here. Do you want to ban out the CK? Do you want to ban out Darkseer, who's still in the pool? I mean, you have a Chen who can be taken out as well. I think that he's probably the favorite jungle, and they are going to go with the Darkseer ban, so I kind of agree with that. They're wide open now to at least one high-tier hero from Midas, but that means that Skill Difference can answer with anything that Midas doesn't take, plus another very high-tier hero to boot.
You know, there have been enough new heroes added to the game where a lot of the staple bans are making it through to the pick stage right now, with Rubik and Chen and Enchantress actually make it into the picks a lot. But Rubik and CK aren't always banned anymore, which is surprising, but
I think people really are getting used to dealing with those heroes. I mean, if you think of how long they've been in the pool, I mean, CK, one of the latest additions, but he's still manageable nowadays, I would say, because people are just so accustomed to seeing him because of the fact that they added in Naga Siren, they added in a couple of new heroes other than that as well, so you start to see him more, like you said. So with that being the case, wow, I can't talk today. We saw stuff like a couple of months ago, Night Stalker was picked every game, right? And then people kind of just got used to it. They're like, okay, well, we know how to play against this. It's not going to be as effective as it was before. And I think that's a large reason as to why we're seeing things kind of change up here. But Tide actually going to be the first pick out here for Midas.
I think that Skill Difference will pick up CK. I know they like that hero a lot. I wouldn't be surprised with an Enchantress pick either. I know they favor running aggressive tri-lanes with Enchantress.
Well, they can take Enchantress here. They can also take up Chen if they want to. I mean, it doesn't really matter which one you take. They're going to go ahead and take Rubik, though, very, very early on. CK is still an option as well. They want to keep their lanes at least a little bit open. The Tidehunter first pick, I like it and I don't like it, because not only did they just pick Rubik so he can actually spell steal the Ravage, in my opinion, but in the same sense, it's like you're already giving away most of what you want to try to accomplish by picking a Tide. I mean, that's a team fight hero. Depending on how you use it, I mean, you can try to split push if you pick something like a Brood and try to 4v5 and use the Tide just to kind of counterbalance in team fights. But for the most part, you want to try to push and get some kind of advantage. I don't know. I think the Tide is kind of showing your cards a little bit too early, and it also opens up really high tier picks like we've just seen taken here by Skill Difference. They're going to take Queen of Pain second, not opting for something like a CK, so that's still an option for Midas at this point. But really, really strange kind of picking style for Midas. I want to see what they're going to go here for the next two.
Yeah, I think that, well, Enigma is still in the pool here. I don't know enough about Midas to know if they have very good Chen player, but that could definitely work well.
I think that most teams have a jungler. I think if you, even if you're mid skill, you have to have at least one person who's dedicated to playing
You'd
jungler.
think that, right?
I would hope that, actually. I think it would be. I would just
ask Quantic how that's going for them right now.
touche. But in the same sense, I really do think the fact that actually they were going to see a Shadow Demon here too from Midas, so that's another great hero. He's pretty much versatile, I would say. One of the best supports in the game, and a Night Stalker this early. That has to be pretty much just for the Queen of Pain. I mean, no other reason. They don't want to have to let it go to the second ban phase, because I'm pretty sure they would have taken it out if you're in skill difference issues right now. So I really like that quite a bit as well. It's a very aggressive pick too, and that kind of just, like I said, they were showing their cards a bit early. They want to be able to team fight. They want to skirmish, and they want to be able to make the best of it. But they need to be a bit careful, because Night Stalker isn't really a heavy carry. He's got a crazy good mid game if you have a good start, and then you have to either have another hero to fall back on, or you need to go all in with your strategy and try to just win the game in 25 minutes or so. And I think that might be what we're seeing Midas do, which would totally line up with what you said earlier about them playing aggressive styles.
And I really expect a CK pick right now. And CK actually handles Night Stalker pretty well, especially if they run an aggressive CK or a ganking sort of a strategy here.
Well, they're going to go with Venomancer, and I feel like Venomancer in this case, yeah, you can kind of call him Night Stalker food to an extent, because the hero gets Silence and Void and there's not much he can do. But in the same kind of mentality, you can have Plague Words go up all over the map to scout for you. He gives a tremendous amount of, I guess you could say, safe feeling in terms of being able to not get ganked and stuff like that. And he is a very, very strong low-level hero. Plus, not to mention, his disable is one of the best in the early phases of the game. CK going to be banned out here by Midas. And with the Shadow Demon and the Night Stalker, I have to imagine that we're either going to be seeing a dual lane mid or a tri lane with the Night Stalker. We've been seeing that a lot when people actually choose to pick him. Night Stalker not the most common anymore, but with the prevalence of heroes like Queen of Pain and Rubik especially, I think that he might see a bit of a resurgence here.
Well, right now, Midas is really lacking in the push power. Skill difference has Venomancer, but I'm wondering what Midas is planning to do for any sort of an early push, seeing that they banned Furion and Lestrak.
Well, they still have heroes in the pool that they can pick. It's not necessarily always about who can kill towers the fastest. If you can get the map control and you can get the kills, then the towers will come. It might not be necessarily as fast, but you can still make it happen. I've seen eHome especially run lineups where they run stuff like Midas is running right now and just try to run the game into the ground in the first 15 minutes and just get as much of a kill and experience lead as you possibly can, and then the towers will follow suit. So it's kind of not really a new age way of playing. It's actually pretty old, but seeing a bit more of that closer as we get closer to the international, I should say. But Brewmaster going to be banned out here as well, and nothing really amazingly shocking from skill difference. Mostly just Midas's picks that are a bit different so far.
Yeah, and that strategy you were describing is really a perfect fit for Night Stalker. That hero just has so much snowball potential, especially against the squishy heroes on Dire right now.
Right, and the one thing that I really think Dire needs is something that can get a Necronomicon or something that has a really good hard stun for the Night Stalker, because oftentimes when we saw Night Stalker and his like Reign of Terror, if you want to call it that, we would see people picking like Beastmaster to counter him, because you can put the Boar on him, you can roar him in a team fight. Even Slardar to an extent is very, very powerful against him, because it kind of makes his innate tankiness work against him. He wants to be able to run past towers. He wants to be able to initiate team fights just because of his move speed and his health and his ability to spam Void, because it's one of the most efficient nukes in the game. But when you're going up against a hero like Beastmaster, who can punish bad positioning, or a Slardar who can basically make you take twice the amount of damage because you lose all your armor, I mean, it makes you think twice, you know? So we could be seeing something like one of those two heroes as a countermeasure to this Night Stalker, as we're waiting out the last ban here from skill difference. Enigma taken out by Midas. Don't want to have to deal with the additional push, but I feel like the Enigma's a little bit of a throwaway ban. They have 3 ways to stop it already. They have a Tide. The only thing they would have to worry about necessarily is a BKB on him, and I'm not really sure what kind of build that skill difference would run him as, but I'm not really, I don't know, I'm just not keen on that ban.
No. I don't know what skill difference is going to ban here.
Well, they're going to get rid of the Brood. I already think they had a pretty good countermeasure to Brood with Queen of Pain and Rubik alone.
I don't think Midas would have picked Brood, not with that lineup.
Well, if they were planning on tri-laning the Night Stalker, which after a Windrunner pick is a very high possibility, then they could have gotten rid of the Brood just because, you know, they don't want to have to deal with it if they do put it to a long lane. But now, with the Windrunner pickup, there wouldn't have been any way that they would have been able to fit a Brood there. So we could be seeing a potential mid here. We could see a 2-2-1 if they pick another support, but I'm not really sure if that's going to be the case. The Windrunner pick just feels like the no-brainer long lane, you know? It's like, doesn't necessarily fit into the lineup that great. Windrunner is a very versatile hero, don't get me wrong, but I don't consider her a very aggressive hero. I consider her like a very well-rounded one, and with the Night Stalker, Shadow Demon, and Tide already on your team, the Windrunner to me just doesn't necessarily fit the bill as well as I think some other heroes would have.
But it gives them options. Skill Difference doesn't know now if Night Stalker's going to be solo mid or with a babysit Shadow Demon or what. And there's the Enchantress pick I was expecting.
Enchantress taken quite late here. Kind of strange that they did not for Chen, but then again, Enchantress does add a pretty good amount of damage with Impetus to heroes like Night Stalker, and his base HP, and most heroes, or most players who play the hero go for things like Vanguard and stuff like that early on just for the additional melee damage reduction. That doesn't work against Enchantress, as there's also a lot of extra magic burst coming out from skill difference so far, so they should have something to deal with him. I still feel like the Night Stalker hasn't really been fully dealt with yet in terms of skill differences lineup, because Queen of Pain is going to suffer from that a lot, so is the Venomancer and the Rubik as well. Enchantress is probably one where I wouldn't worry about it that much because you have abilities like Nature's Attendance. If you can get it off before he goes on you, he's probably not going to be able to take you out before you can TP, but we'll see. Morphling actually going to be the last pick out here, yeah.
I like that. Skill difference is going to run Rubik mid with Queen of Pain top and an aggressive tri-lane bottom, so I expect them to get some sort of a strength stunning hero. You know, maybe Slardar wouldn't be terrible. I don't think they'll go with Slardar.
I kind of miss him, man. I really think that he has a lot of place.
Not a bad hero. Not a bad hero at all.
Yeah, I think the thing that most people have a problem with is that they consider him one of a typical like melee semi-carries that just get kited, but that's not the case. Like,
right.
You build a blink on him, you get sprint, which is 40% increased move speed. I mean, you really can't kite that hero, especially once he gets a BKB. If you try to run away from him, he's just going to run you down. So I feel like in this current stage of the way the game is played, that he's really, really strong. He hits his stride really fast, like the mid game, and then he becomes a very, very powerful force. But we'll see what skill difference is going to do here.
Yes!
Whoa, they did it! Oh
yes!
My god, are they actually listening to us right now? I think they are. Well, shout out to Dilated if you managed to hear the delay. And the stream is delayed, by the way, guys. We're obviously joking here. But yeah, oh man, 6 cents. I don't know what it is. I just felt it in my bones, you know, sometimes. All right, let's see what everyone's going to play here. Just a couple of seconds. Once again, guys, Midas taking on Skill Difference. My name is Draskyl. Joining me today, Spit-wad of NEODota. Great to have you on again. And I'm excited now. I mean, after seeing a hero like Slardar picked, always going to look forward to heroes that haven't been seeing much play recently.
Yeah. I like both lineups here, actually. I think this should be a rather fun game. There's less pushing power than we've been seeing a lot recently. These are a lot of action-heavy heroes, so hopefully we're going to have a good game.
Yeah, you know what I love about the Slardar pick too is that even if Night Stalker goes for BKB, Amp goes right through that. So they're still going to have a significant amount of pressure that they can apply to that Night Stalker, even if he gets the start that he wants. And I'm kind of figuring that if you're in Midas' shoes right now, you want to get the Morphling, obviously, a good start. And then you want to get the Night Stalker as good of a start as he possibly can, because he's going to be the one you have to rely on first, you know? Like, the Morphling you can fall back on later into the game, like 30, 35 minutes once he gets his core items, but the Night Stalker is going to be more important sooner. So in this case, we'll see what Midas wants to do for lanes. It looks like he is going to be heading towards mid. We're going to have Windrunner possibly, yeah, definitely going to be going top. And I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a Tide Morphling bottom and a Shadow Demon support on this Night Stalker mid, or even a potential tri-lane, I guess. This tri-lane has kill potential if they do choose to run it. Shadow Demon, Tide, and Morphling all have decent nukes at early levels, and plus Disruption can help you close ground if you manage to lose it. But going to see Enchantress placing an aggressive ward down here, WSLK, putting a ward right behind the tower. And this is pretty standard if you are running that aggressive tri-lane, which, again, you called. So props to you for that.
That's a really helpful ward. You don't see that out of every team, but when there's 6 heroes down in that little section of the map, vision is really key.
Well, now this is This is kind of a hard spot, I think, for skill difference, because your jungler is not going to be adding much in terms of tri-lane until she comes to the lane, whereas you have supports from Midas who can go and hunt your Enchantress if they really want to and leave the Morphling down here. I mean, it's not like a Slardar and a Venomancer are going to be able to just dive on a Morphling. I think that's a bit too risky. So we'll see how it works out, but...
Actually, it looks like Shadow Demon has moved to mid for now.
Oh, okay,
we'll see
yeah.
if he stays there.
They're going to go ahead and...
I liked the tri-lane idea. I think you were right. If they had the tri-lane down there, skill difference would have a really hard time dealing with that.
They might just rotate the Shadow Demon down. I don't think they saw the tri-lane, so... we will see. Double damage picked up here by Dilated Mind, so that means dual lane against the solo Rubik mid. I think he's actually going to do okay here. I don't think he's going to get dove or anything crazy like that. He did kind of waste his Fable, though, so that's a bit unfortunate. And then top lane, we're going to have Queen of Pain against Windrunner, and I've seen this a dozen times. Queen of Pain just wins this 1v1. I mean, there's really nothing else that you can say. If the Windrunner manages to win, then props to him, because it just really shouldn't happen. And Dilated's going to find Joker out here, throwing out some right clicks, doing a little bit of harassment damage, but I have a feeling... oh, disruption off in middle lane, but apparently for no reason, as Rubik's going to be chased back towards his tower. But this is going to be a little bit strange, because WSLK has got an Ursa down here, and he's kind of just waiting around. Okay, he's just going to keep farming, which means that Slardar is going to be farming head-to-head against a Morphling bottom, and he's actually doing quite well at the moment, but I don't really know who I favor in these lanes yet. I still feel like Midas wanted that tri-lane.
Yeah, the Enchantress does have two big creeps right now. He's going to catch Tide here, actually.
Yeah,
he'll retreat to
unfortunately.
the tower.
No net creep or anything like that, and his team was a bit too far to help him out anyway.
Between Enchantress and Vino, they do have a lot of killing potential at level 1. Just so much slow, and those creeps really do a lot of damage.
Yeah, he's going to get gushed out here. 3 creeps. Does he actually have a... yeah, he's got the mana burn creep as well, so no more gushing for Tide. He does pop a Clarity, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot of passivity in the early stages of the game, because there's no tri versus tri lane, so you're not going to see probably a first blood for quite a while, but Enchantress cutting the creeps here, going to make the tower take a little bit of extra damage. He's going to send his Satyrs in here to do some harassment to the Morphling, and yeah, okay, finally Shadow Demon has decided to make his way down here. He's going to run right into Dilated Mind, who is going to throw out a Gale, but not choose to chase, and I like that decision because Shadow Demon was, in fact, level 2. Could have got the Soul Catcher and Disruption. Does a lot of damage, actually, even at level 1 of that Soul Catcher. So just playing it safe. And looking at the CS so far, it looks like skill difference pulling out a bit ahead here. 10-5 for the Slardar, 10-0 for Enchantress, obviously, and then 8-3 for the Queen of Pain. Pretty much the top, or 3 of the 4 top farmers in the game at the moment.
And top lane, Queen of Pain is holding down the Windrunner pretty well. We see Windrunner is probably going to have to use her healing potion soon.
Yeah, this is to be expected, yeah. It's
Shadow
really
Strike
tough.
is such a strong spell at early levels. Anytime the Queen of Pain can get a Shadow Strike off, she's basically forced to use her Windrun to get away.
Yeah, you can't ever trade. We're going to see a smoke up here. WSLK might be in some trouble. He does get the Centaur, but can't get it through quite yet. There's a Gale going off. Manages to hit Shadow Demon, and a nice triple stun there from WSLK on the Centaur. Saves his teammate. Enchantress might have been in a bit of trouble right there. We can see Slardar pop the sprint. Looks like he actually wanted to go in here, as WSLK is going to steal that Golem. Shadow Demon throwing out one more auto attack before falling back, and this is a really strange situation, man. Like, neither team really wants to engage. I feel like they're just afraid of making a mistake, and this is interesting. WSLK decided not to go 2 ranks of Nature's Attendance. He's leveling up his enchant instead. That does lower the cooldown, which adds more to the push, but at the same time, it takes away tremendously from her early game survivability.
And I think both teams are actually happy with playing passive here. Radiant just wants to get Morphling as much farm as possible. Yeah, he's not farming great right now, but most importantly, they don't want him to die. And skill difference is... well, they're getting farm out of Slardar, at least.
Well, they're coming out ahead here. We are going to see a disruption going off onto Dilated. Is the Gale's going to come off right there, and the waveform as well, but the Soul Catcher just adding so much damage. Looks like going to see the first blood in favor of Midas. Shadow Demon picking it up, but he might be in some trouble. Netcreep comes out. One more auto attack from the Troll Warlord, and that's a kill for WSLK. Now we're going to see a full retreat here by Midas. Waveform, actually not quite enough mana. They're going to catch Tide off to the side here. The Crush goes off. He's going to get Telekinesis back into place, trying to get back to that tree to eat his way through with the Tango, but not going to work. TP bottom lane by this Windrunner, throwing out some auto attacks here onto KY. but I don't believe that he is going to drop to that. And in all honesty, I mean, that TP was pretty much just a waste. There is no way that Winner is going to save anybody. Only level 1 Shackle, level 2 Power Shot. Now he has to run all the way from bottom to top, and that's honestly a pretty big misplay. We're going to see another disruption going off onto the Enchantress, but...
Oh, she's stuck!
Yeah, she is stuck here, but I don't think there's going to be any added pressure. Was funny, though. And this is a really interesting situation because now the Winner was already losing her lane, but now she has to use money for a TP run all the way back top, only 9 CS, where Queen of Pain has 23. I think Skill Difference is going to be pretty happy with how their lanes have worked out. The problem really lies in the fact that Midas didn't have a jungler. So they were committing time to trying to kill the other team's jungler and not succeeding. I mean, they ended up getting the first blood, but in all honesty, paying back the 2 kills, forcing the Winner TP was more than worth it for Skill Difference.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Could see some action here onto Slard. Our Soul Catcher goes off. Where's the Gush? Manages to crush 3 and runs off to the side. He's not going to get out of sight, though. The Gush does go off. Shadow Poison to Scout. Waveform will do a little bit of added damage here as Dilated comes in with a nice double Gale. Now WSLK's here as well. I don't see any creep, though. He's just throwing off auto attacks to try to chase back the Tide, and it looks like it will be successful. They're going to throw off the Enchant here, and here comes Queen of Pain, but he blinks into trees. He's stuck. He doesn't even get the Scream off. Oh, man, what a misplay. I think he was actually 6'2". He could have at the very least tried to ult. Probably would have killed, and wow, just misplays all over the map right here from both sides. Looks like Midas actually getting the better side of it that time. That was a rough blink, man. Oh, it's actually, we're going to see Nightstalker get caught out here. It is nighttime, but man, you can't run into 3 heroes like that. Looks like Queen of Pain, Slardar, and Venomancer all more than enough to take him out. And this looks like a bit of miscommunication so far. No wards, just running blind into 3 heroes there.
It was a great response from Skill Difference. Slardar managing to get that triple stun off and retreating to the safety of his team. And a good TP by Queen of Pain. Unfortunately, the blink didn't quite go as far as she had hoped.
Yeah, that blink, you know what, it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes.
But, you know, they got the Nightstalker anyways, and that's the advantage that the Queen of Pain was looking for. They were sitting at, well, now we see Queen of Pain running all the way back up top to Windrunner.
Yeah, the Windrunner has caught up actually quite a bit here in CS. Got the free farm for a little bit, sitting at level 6. However, Queen of Pain is level 7 at the moment. Doesn't have her treads up yet, but she is 1-0 after getting that kill on the Nightstalker. Highest farmer in the game, by the way, is Rubik, sitting at 33 and 5 at 7 minutes. That's pretty good. About on track for that 50 CS at 10 minutes that we use as a pretty common benchmark to see how everybody's doing. We'll just look at the gold graph here for a second. 2,000 gold in favor of Skill Difference is 2,500, probably closer to 3,000 experience in favor of Skill Difference as well. And I don't really feel like the reaction from Midas was fast enough. They could be going on this Slardar, though, as he pops his amp accidentally on a range creep, but Haze is going to be popped by Rubik. There's a Fade Bolt and a Gale going off onto the Shadow Demon. He's not going to make it through. Crush comes out. Rubik manages to get the kill. Now we're going to see a nice telekinesis stun to both the Leviathan and the Nightstalker, who gets amped, actually, and he is going to be forced out. Simply can't fight with that minus armor. Hasterun still on this Rubik, and he is just getting gushed all over the place. He did manage to steal a Void, which is pretty useful. His Nightstalker is going to go ahead and bottle up a double damage. He does not have boots, by the way. He only has an urn and a bottle, so that's probably why he was unable to run away, even though it was nighttime the last time he ran up into those 3 heroes from Skill Difference, and pretty much a whole lot of nothing happening right there. 1 hero falling. Looks like Shadow Demon died for the 2nd time this game, and Skill Difference seems to be just pulling farther ahead at this point.
Nightstalker just actually went on the Enchantress and almost killed her with the DD. But a nice counter gank here. He'll be fine.
Yeah, even without boots, he still runs pretty darn fast with Shadow Strike on, man. That is just ridiculous how long Shadow Strike lasts. Moving 20% slower for 15 seconds. Speaking of, looks like we're going to have Morphling Waveform out of here to gain a little bit of boost of speed. Doesn't want to get caught out by the Gale and the Slardar as well. And the Slardar pick's actually turning to work out quite well. Nightstalker really has to think about where he wants to engage, because -8 armor at 9 minutes into the game is pretty much his entire armor. It's actually more than he has. He only has 7. So he's actually taking increased physical damage rather than reducing it. Oh no, Morphling getting it telekinesis right here. Thrown back, tries to waveform up, but the crush misses. And it looks like Morphling is going to be able to live to fight another day. See more here from Skill Difference kind of forming up. Enchantress sitting off to the side with a Troll as Waveform was picked up here. Another amp going off onto Morphling. Let's see if Rubik wants to go on any of this. He could just Fade Bolt, wave the creep wave down here and just try to push, which I think is what they're going to be doing, as middle tower has actually already fallen in favor of Skill Difference at this point as well, and they're going to be looking to push the tier 1 bottom.
Rubik's got to have a big smile on his face right now. Waveform's just about the best spell he could grab at this point in the game, and he's got it for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think him being able to escape or just go very aggressively into team fights, pop Telekinesis and Fable, not to mention the sheer amount of burst damage those abilities bring. I mean, that's a really, really good spell arsenal to have until the Tide hits 6, which, by the way, he is only level 3. It's 10 minutes into the game. The support Venomancer, who actually got First Blooded, is level 5, and Enchantress is almost level 6 at this point. So just in terms of experience and gold, it really looks like skill difference is just kind of holding a commanding lead. Even only 10 minutes in, 5,000 gold lead and a 3,500 experience lead.
And everyone on skill difference besides the Vino has more CS than everyone on Radiant. Although Windrunner did just pass the Slardar.
Yeah, I actually have the last hit one open. That's what I've been looking at every once in a while, and I managed to sort it out from top to bottom instead of by team.
It is a really handy graph.
I'm a fan. Anytime I can just have something like that up, it's not too distracting, doesn't take away from the game itself. I'll keep it, man. I will always have that stuff on when I remember. And Slardar seems to be going straight for a Vanguard. He's not going to opt to go anything like a quick blink. He did pick up his Ring of Health and a Stout Shield. So I have a feeling here, and about 300 gold, he's going to go ahead and pick up that Vitality Booster, finish off the Vanguard, as Rubik is going for a mech. No other real big items picked up here so far. I mean, a point booster on the Enchanter is going to be going for that quick Ags. And Dilate is actually sitting over here doing some Ancient stacking to try to recover from his lack of farm, which is definitely what you want to do in this situation. And the Night Stalker, I just really haven't felt his presence at all. Like, he just simply hasn't been able to make anything happen.
Yeah, the early action down in the tri-lane really hurt his farming opportunities, and he didn't have very much to gank. That one time he got caught out, I guess that was a gank attempt, but it's been rough on him.
Morphling. Can he waveform off on the side of the trees? He does, but I think he can actually get spotted here, and the waveform to follow Telekinesis stops the TP. There's an Amplify damage, throws him back, and Rubik's Fade Bolt plus the crush damage, more than enough to give Rubik the kill right there. That is a killing spree for him. He's 3-0-0 right now, 39 CS, doing quite well. However, Queen of Pain sitting at 59, highest in the game by quite a bit, about 15 difference from the next highest, who is Night Stalker. And they're catching up a bit in their respective CS, but every time they split up, man, seems like skill difference is always there to end up picking somebody off.
Rubik is going for a mech. What do you think about that?
I think it's an alright choice if you want to try to end the game early, especially against heroes like Tide, and you have Windrunner and Morphling to boot. I mean, that's 3 pretty big AoE damage abilities. Anything you have to offset that damage in the earlier phases is pretty darn important, considering Rubik's base HP, 796. I mean, that's not a whole lot. That can really save his life or some of the other supports like the Enchantress as well. So I think it's a pretty solid choice. We're just so used to seeing like the phase boots, Yules, you know, even Blink Dagger in some cases.
But he did go Arcane Boots, and along with his bottle and his wand, he doesn't need to go Yules right now. He has 900 mana without even using his Arcane Boots. He's not exactly hurting for mana like a lot of Rubiks are.
I really like this choice here too, from skill difference to take Roche. Go ahead, by the way. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, that's alright. It was nothing important. Yeah, they're going to get a really easy Roshan now. They know that they have map control.
Minus armor, man. This is what minus armor can bring to you. Don't even need a medallion. A lot of teams who get Dire Side are actually opting to pick up medallion, even if it's not good on a hero, just for this purpose, just for killing Roshan. But Slardar obviously doesn't need that. Level 1 amp takes away 8 armor, and that's going to be a free Aegis for KY on the Slardar. He's actually going to be saving up for a blink now, choosing to skip the Vanguard. I like that choice quite a bit. Why not push your advantage if you have it, especially considering it's daytime. Night Stalker is going to have to pop his ult, which, by the way, he does not have at level 8. Many players will at least get 1 rank to try to ensure that when daytime rolls around, they'll be able to team fight on the spot if they absolutely have to, but not going to see it this game from the Night Stalker. I'm a little bit shocked, actually.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that. I think you will be happy with the Queen of Pain's item choice. She is going Necrobook.
I like Necrobook, especially against heroes like Night Stalker. You can just pretty much Shadow Strike him, right-click it on him, and when you have Amplified damage as well, he's going to take a lot of damage. And Night Stalkers are players who typically are used to not having that much done to them. And speaking of, we're going to have to hold on just a second. KY might be in some trouble. Shackle doesn't latch after the disruption. Gush does go off. Sprint is popped. Only level 1, though. We're going to see Egisto get caught off to the side here. Night Stalker amp is popped as well. Mech goes off, but it's not enough to quite save him. There's another crush going off on a Joker as well. Tide is not even level 6, man. No Ravage. and that's 2 for nothing. Can they get the winner as well? Shackle goes off once again, but it's a complete whiff. There's another amp, and that is a dominating streak for Rubik, and no, Shadow Demon's only level 4 with no mana. I don't think he's going to be getting away from this. Crush actually misses right there, though. As somebody, I think, disconnected here from skill difference. Telekinesis up in the air after the amplify damage, and Slardar gets yet another kill. Now this tier 2 bottom is in a lot of trouble. 1-9 so far in favor of skill difference, and I think this game has just completely gotten out of control.
Well, playing support is one thing, but when the Tidehunter and the Shadow Demon have 2 and 6 CS respectively, and neither of them is level 6, they're not adding much to the team right now.
Yeah, Slardar might lose his Aegis here, but I don't think it's going to matter. Wow, Gale actually misses by Dilate. He's doing a little bit of blocking on his teammate, but there's an amp going off. They're going to man fight this. Crush goes off, and wow, just look at how much damage a Night Stalker is taking. He gets another bash, and down he goes. Will they get the Aegis? Another bash onto him. Are you serious? He is still alive. Finally drops. Going to repop here in just a couple of seconds, but Venomancer is going to get a double kill. So even when they commit to a team fight, they still lose their tower, lose 2 heroes for just an Aegis. Oh, nice blink right there. Didn't manage to hit the Crush, though. Amp goes off a little bit late. And wow, that was something. KY, Vanguard, and Blink at just 16 minutes into the game. He is just too tanky right now, and there's not really anything that I think that Midas is going to be able to do aside from sit in their base and farm now.
I really like the Vanguard choice. All he really needs to do is tank. The Queen of Pain and the Rubik are putting out enough damage to take out the entire Midas team.
Well, not only that, but you can never count out Enchantress as well. I mean, Impetus does a ton of damage, especially this early into the game. He's going to have a Scepter and 1900 gold. I mean, that's how farmed this Enchantress was. Didn't have the greatest start, but 2-0 and 4. Doesn't really have that much CS, only sitting at about 57, which I guess, you know, it's actually pretty high. It's 4th highest in the game. But at this point, Queen of Pain still the highest farmer, 93 CS, got her Necronomicon level 1.
Level 2.
Oh, it is level 2. Okay, I'm not used to the graphics. I kind of just looked at it and thought it was level 1, but it is level 2. So he's going to have level 3 very soon, only about 1,200 gold away from that. More TPs coming in from skill difference. Looks like they're not going to choose to take this to a late game, and that's kind of solidified by the fact that the Rubik went for the mech, and obviously Queen of Pain went for that Necro book. And I think they're just going to be looking to keep applying pressure here and just try to win the game in that 20 to 25 minute window.
Look at that purple harpy. Look at that push power.
Oh man, that thing is OP. 33 damage.
It's got a chain lightning the creeps.
Nah, he's just sitting here for the moment. He's just slacking, man. Apparently they think that Fade Bolt is more than enough, which, let's be honest, it probably is. Fade Bolt just does a crazy amount of damage and bounces like, what, 800 times? Yeah, it bounces way too much. Oh, blink in from Slardar. He actually gets shackled right away. He doesn't have an Aegis. This time he gets silenced as well as the Void. Banish is going to go off onto Rubik. There's a Gale managing to hit 2, and there's a big combo coming out from Queen of Pain. Takes out the Shadow Demon. Amplify damage once again going off onto Morphling. Looks like Rubik manages to get a kill on the Windrunner as well. I don't even know how he got that. Did he power shot snipe after he stole it from the Windrunner? Are you kidding me? That was a pretty sick play that I managed to miss, so apologize for that. But it looks like that tier 2 middle is going to drop pretty easily right here. Another blink in from Slardar right onto the Morphling. Amp is used. He's trying to convert to strength, but just not quite enough. And Slardar is going to get away again with essentially no hit points, and the GG comes out at 18 minutes into the game. 18-minute GG. I mean, Morphling just said good game and left 1-15 skill difference, just completely rolling over Midas today.
It's pretty obvious that skill difference knew what they were planning to do coming into this game. They executed pretty well. Their tri-lane clearly had the advantage early game, and that kind of just carried them into this easy push down mid for the win.
Well, I gotta say, I mean, I've seen skill difference before, but I've never seen them look this good. I mean, they really, like you said, they knew exactly what they wanted to do. They got in here, they got their Slardar at the farm, he got a very, very fast Blink Dagger, and after that point, there was absolutely nothing that Midas could do about it. I think if they had the Shadow Demon down there and their tri-lane starting at level 1, things might have went a bit different, but they did end up getting the first blood. Just got a turnaround double kill right there. Everything just kind of snowballed out of control too fast, and skill difference takes this win pretty handily, but that's it for today, if I'm not mistaken. We only had one game, right?
That is it for today. Tomorrow we're gonna hopefully have 2 games. Right now the schedule shows starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna have AL versus Midas, and right after that we'll have EG versus skill difference.
I want to see the second game for sure. I think that skill difference has shown a pretty vast improvement over the last couple of months. Hopefully they can show their kind of colors again with their nice pickup here of Slardar. Very good use of him. And I'm just so happy that I had the sense, man. The sixth sense today, I was like, we're going to see a Slardar. It's just going to happen. And it managed to come out. You know what's funny, too, is I almost, like, talked to Dilated before the match because he's on my friends list and I wanted to see what they were planning to do. And I was going to ask him if he was going to pick it, but I decided not to. But turns out that they do, and that's going to be game over, man. Skill difference wins. The only game of the day, unfortunately, guys. It'll be bringing you 2 games tomorrow, however, that Aaron just said. And you had something to say, man?
I think that's about it.
All right, well.
Shout out to Tooth Slayer.
Tooth Slayer?
Tooth Slayer. That's all I got.
I'm sure there's a pun in there somewhere that I'm just not getting or some kind of inside joke. But we're out of here, guys. It's going to be it for today. Want to thank you guys for watching. Want to thank Machinima for sponsoring ECAL's $3,000 prize pool North and South American tournament. And we will see you guys